Hello guys. Two doctors told Tom Aspinall his eyes were perfectly fine. No damage, no danger, no problem. But of course, that wasn't dramatic enough. So they flew back to the UK and suddenly, boom, they found a doctor who said his vision might disappear forever.
It was really bad how it looks. And he said, you can't train your eyeball to be stronger. It is what it is. You've protection here and here, but he obviously got no protection because the fingers were straight in. The fight should have been stopped. He couldn't see. It was a foul. He couldn't see.
Alright guys, today we're going to talk about something that's been bothering me since that night. Tom Aspinall, the eye poke, and what really happened in that cage. Because to me, that wasn't just a bad luck moment or a doctor's stoppage. That was the clearest example of what's wrong with modern MMA. How a fighter can have all the talent in the world, all the hype, all the sponsorships, but the moment things stop going perfectly, everything collapses. And I want to be clear, I'm not here to trash Tom just for the sake of views. The guy's gifted, one of the most technical heavyweights we've seen in a while. But the truth is, he quit that night. Maybe not in the record books, but in spirit. Because the exact second he looked at the doctor and said, "I can't see," the fight was already over. The ref didn't have to call it. Tom did it himself. You never, and I mean never, say that line to a ringside doctor. That's not being honest, that's being naive. Every veteran knows the rule. You tell them you're fine, you blink, you move, you buy time. But the moment you admit you can't see, you've just given the official the green light to take your fight away from you. And once that switch flips, there's no coming back. And it's not even about eyesight. It's about what that sentence represents. When a fighter says, "I can't see," what he's really saying is, "I can't handle this moment." You don't have to scream, you don't have to panic, you can feel when the fire goes out. I saw it in Tom's body language. He wasn't angry, he wasn't desperate to continue, he just accepted it. And that's when you realize, the physical poke wasn't what blinded him, it was the fear of imperfection. Look, I get it, the guy's human, but this is fighting, not figure skating. Nobody's judging your honesty, they're judging your will. This isn't about how clean your technique is, it's about how dirty you're willing to get to survive. And that's where Tom, like so many modern fighters, falls apart. They've been raised in comfort, in systems that teach them control, not chaos. You take away the perfect plan, and the mind crumbles. When he told the doctor he couldn't see, it wasn't a man protecting his health, it was a man protecting his comfort zone. Because deep down, that's what the new generation fears the most. Not pain, not blood, but uncertainty. The old school guys lived in it. They thrived in it. They walked into cages expecting to bleed. Tom walked in expecting things to go right. And when they didn't, his fight left him. You watch the replay and you can almost feel it. That tiny pause, that hesitation, the confusion. And then gone. The edge, the danger, the thing that makes a fighter scary. You can't coach that instinct, and once it's gone, you can't buy it back. This isn't me trying to sound old school for the sake of nostalgia, but there's a reason legends never said, "I can't see." Guys like Frankie Edgar, Big Nog, Prime Tony Ferguson, they fought half blind, half broken, but full of fire. They didn't have the luxury of self-preservation. Their pride was the only doctor they trusted. Tom Aspinall didn't lose his sight. He lost his edge. And that's what separates fighters from contenders, warriors from professionals. The doctor didn't stop that fight. Tom did. He just made it sound medical. You know what bothers me the most about this whole situation with Tom Aspinall? It's not the eye poke, it's what it exposed. This new generation of heavyweights who've been trained more to feel safe than to feel dangerous. Guys who grew up in clean gyms with nutritionists, therapists, media coaches, and managers who tell them when to speak, what to say, and how to sound humble. Fighters who post mindset quotes after sparring, but haven't been in a real war since they got their first sponsor. It's not a generation of killers anymore. It's a generation of content creators who happen to punch. You can see it in the way they react to chaos. The first jab lands too hard. They look at their corner. A cut opens. They panic. Something doesn't go by the book. They freeze. Because they've been conditioned to live in control, not in crisis. The old school guys, Mark Hunt, Junior Dos Santos, Big Nog, Mirko Krokop, they didn't train chaos, they were chaos. They weren't waiting for things to go right. They expected pain, they accepted it, and they built themselves inside it. These new guys, they get hit once and it's like Windows error sound in their head. When you listen to the old school fighters, you could hear danger in their voices. They weren't doing affirmations. They were promising destruction. They talked like men who'd already buried fear 6 feet under and were coming to dig up yours. Today's heavyweights, They talk like motivational speakers. They're not ready to hurt, they're ready to heal. The sport's turned into therapy, a safe space with gloves. And yeah, maybe that's progress for humanity, but it's regression for fighting. The reason the old school era hit different was because everyone there came from something rough. Poor countries, small gyms, broken families, debts, hunger. You didn't need a reason to fight. Life was the reason. These guys didn't dream of sponsorship deals or content partnerships. They dreamed of paying rent, feeding kids, surviving one more day. When that's your starting point, the cage feels like luxury. Now look at the new generation. Homegrown comfort. Fighters raised in modern facilities with diet plans and podcasts before they even hit top 10. They don't fight to survive, they fight to maintain a lifestyle. There's no desperation, just management. And that's why when things get hard, they fold, not because they're cowards, but because they've never had to crawl through darkness to get here. When you're born into comfort, pain feels optional. And the moment pain feels optional, you stop being a threat. The more you watch Tom Aspinall, the more you realize he's not just a fighter trying to win, he's a son trying to impress his dad. Every interview, every camp, every moment before a fight, you can feel it. That little hesitation, that subconscious need for approval. He talks about pressure, about expectations, about how hard it is to balance being himself and living up to what people want. But when you listen closely, it's not people, it's one person, his father. The man's presence is everywhere. And I don't mean that in a supportive way. I mean like a shadow that doesn't let you breathe. It's strange because physically, Tom looks like a monster. Tall, powerful, composed. But mentally, there's something childlike about him. You can see it in the way he over-explains things, apologizes for feeling emotions, overthinks every sentence.
You went near enough to pull deep, mate. I feel is how deep it went now. You already got one twice, at least once for poking. Keep his fingers close, the ref said. And he's nearly put me in the eye before. Feels like the back of my eyeballs hurt.
Just sting you.
It's not even stinging now, it's painful. It's like, it feels like my eye, someone's touched the back of my eyeball.
Can you see it, Google?
Not really, I can't bit.
Can you read what it says on them doors there?
Nope. So say you've got your eye socket like that, and the eyeball sits in it there, like that.
Yeah.
It felt like his finger hit the back of the eye socket when he pushed it in. I just couldn't see.
It will go after 2 minutes.
He's still that kid trying to prove something to the man who built him. And that's a real problem. When a fighter's sense of identity depends on another man's approval, he'll never fully own his violence. He'll always hold back just enough to stay the good son. And that's the energy Tom gives off. He's polite to a fault, kind to a fault, scared to disappoint everyone around him. That works in a family. It doesn't work in a cage. The fight game doesn't reward humility. It feeds on obsession, ego, and madness. But Tom's been taught to be balanced, thoughtful, emotionally aware. Basically, the exact opposite of what a heavyweight killer should be. And let's talk about his pre-fight interviews. The man literally admits fear in public, says he's scared of Pavlovich, scared of Gain, talks about how he overthinks things before walking out. Like, what are we doing? Since when did fear become content? You can feel the difference between honesty and helplessness, and Tom's honesty sounds more like confession than courage. He's not sharing to inspire, he's sharing because he doesn't know what else to do with the anxiety. And that's the part that separates him from the old school. You think guys like Mark Hunt or Cain Velasquez were talking about fear? These dudes had death in their eyes before the bell rang. They weren't tweeting about panic. They were solving it with violence. But Tom, he's trying to process it. That's why he breaks mentally so easily. Because when he's hurt or when things go wrong, there's no inner authority to rely on. He's still wired to look up. Dad, what should I do? But inside the cage, there's no dad. There's only instinct. And Tom hasn't built his yet. He's been trained, not transformed. And don't forget, the doctor said his vision was fine. Fine. But that wasn't enough. We had to get the family involved. The dad, the podcast, the drama. By the time the whole 50% vision story came out, it sounded more like a PR campaign than an injury. Like they were promoting a documentary, not explaining a fight. And this is the thing. That's modern MMA. You don't just lose, you package your loss. Add lighting, emotions, sad music, and suddenly you're not a guy who quit. You're a victim of circumstance. Even his own family turned it into a story. His dad's talking to the media more than his coach. Tom was half blind. The doctor said this, the vision that. Bro, it's not a Netflix doc, it's a fight. And this isn't a family business, it's supposed to be a war. Compare it to the old school. Mark Hunt fought with a smashed jaw. Big Nog fought with a broken arm. Kane fought through injuries that would end careers. And they didn't post about it. They didn't cry about it. They just fought. That's why people still talk about them. Tom Aspinall, though, he's not built like that. He's fast, he's skilled, but mentally, he's from another world. A world where every bruise gets analyzed and every emotion gets explained. The kind of world where fear sells better than aggression. And that's where we are now. The sport's full of guys who'd rather talk about fighting than actually do it. Who turn injuries into podcasts and anxiety into merch drops. The kind of fighters who need reassurance, not corners. Tom isn't a bad guy. He's just a modern product. Made for media, not for mayhem. A great athlete, but not a killer. The kind of fighter who will get more sympathy than respect. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that subscribe button, it really helps. And most importantly, drop your opinion in the comments. Was this just bad luck, or the most comfortable quit in UFC history? Let's see how many still remember what real fighting used to look like.